Hi everyone, and welcome to StudioJake. I, of course, am your host, Jacob Airy. Welcome to my vidcast where I talk about all things pop culture. And I wanted to talk about joining the Panderverse, which is the latest South Park special that's been making waves. And also, I want to talk about how Gina Carano responded to the episode, how the Disney shills responded exactly like she predicted, and her reaction to that as well. But before we dive into it, I did review joining the Panderverse on my website, StudioJakeMedia.com, so you can go over there, read the review. I thought it was funny. I thought it was good. Now, from the outset, I would like to say South Park made fun of everyone. They made fun of Disney, they made fun of Disney's shills, and they made fun of the fandom menace. So the fandom menace is a group of fans like myself who were tired of the woke changes happening at our favorite properties, whether it be Star Wars, Star Trek, He-Man, Transformers, whatever it may be. We want to maintain the lore that was established before sort of these modern people like Alex Kurtzman over at Star Trek or Kathleen Kennedy at Lucasfilm, took over as the corporate overlords. So I would like to say that they made fun of the fandom menace. Now, there were some people in the fandom menace who didn't like the fact that South Park made fun of them. They thought they should have just made fun of Disney, and they should have mixed in. I agree that they should have mixed in Kevin Feige in there with Marvel, but it was kind of interesting seeing people be butthurt about this. Guys, ladies, there's plenty of reasons to laugh at ourselves. Sometimes us as a group, we get a little crazy, and I'm not immune to this. I'm the chief among sinners. It's okay for us to laugh at ourselves. Let's enjoy it. Let's have fun. Let's not be like the woke scolds who never want to laugh at anything, especially themselves. They want to censor people for making fun of them. Let's not do that. But what I found really interesting about how it's playing out is that both sides want to claim it. So the Disney shills, they're like, oh, that episode owned the chides. And then on the other side, the fandom menace, we're all like, oh, that totally owned Disney. Haha, it owned Mickey Mouse. And I'm not the first to point this out. Other YouTubers have. And I think that just shows just how clever the writers of South Park are. And I did think some of the humor in it was outdated, especially, like I said, Disney also has Marvel, and they could have made fun there. Same with Pixar, whatever. That's just a matter of taste. But when it comes to it overall, I did really enjoy the episode. I thought it was funny. Remember, it is not for kids. If you have children, don't watch it with them in the room. Just for the foul language alone, it's rated R. Now, one of the really interesting things is the reaction to it, besides just the pointing fingers, was Gina Carano, who of course played Cara Dune in the first and second season of The Mandalorian. She was famously fired by Kathleen Kennedy for daring to express an opinion, and she posted about it as a reaction to a clip that Geeks and Gamers shared. So this is what she said. I thought it was very interesting. This is the part where KK demands any YouTubers get censored off of YouTube for sharing and laughing at this hilarious episode. She'll have YouTube disable the thumbs down option because of the ratio she'll receive. Then she'll have her publicist ghouls make sure Variety and Hollywood Reporter run hit pieces about the South Park creators and their families, smearing their names through every useful idiot she has under her thumb who would sell their soul to work for Lucasfilm. She'll activate her online mob to repeat that the South Park creators are racist, bigots, transphobes, and demand the South Park creators publicly apologize by only using words she approves of, and finally she'll demand they subject themselves to a re-education course of 45 people in the LGBTQ community Zoom call to sit there and listen of how badly they got their feelings hurt all over a little boop of a South Park episode. She gives a thumbs up and says, but maybe, just maybe, the jig is up, winky face. And Gina is absolutely right. That is exactly what happened to her. All of the Disney shills and the media outlet ran attack pieces on her, attacking her family. And of course, they had to be careful what they said, so they couldn't directly say there was evidence of the accusations they were making because they didn't want to get sued for defamation, which, Gina is obviously way classier than me because I would have sued them anyway. But I think it is nuts that it went down that way, and we're already seeing that happen with South Park. What is so funny about this too is as soon as she publishes, immediately Disney shills started attacking Gina again and defending Kathleen Kennedy. And in fact, comicbook.com did a hit piece on her, and also this other podcast, Rando podcast, set it up. He's a Disney shill and a SAG-AFTRA shill, of course. And Gina brilliantly responded to him as well. I'm not going to read this whole thing. Go follow Gina Carano. It's at Gina Carano on Twitter so that you can read it for yourself. But I want to highlight highlight a couple of things that she said in this. Do you always call a woman crazy just because she has more firsthand experience than you and says something you don't like or understand? Bit misogynistic, don't you think? Tisk tisk. I love it because it's like these male feminists who are all betas. They're like, women empowerment unless they disagree with me, and then they, all of a sudden their red-pilled misogyny comes out, right? And she continues, curious if your overlords pay you, or do y'all just go ahead and shove your whole head straight up their bleep for free? I'm guessing for free. Might want to come out for some fresh air. And then I'm going to skip a little bit of what she said, but this is what I really thought really hit home. If I were the head of one of the most powerful entertainment companies in the world, I would know that haters come with territory, and that maybe the haters are expressing their thoughts because they actually care, and care is a good thing because as long as they care, well, hey, we still have something to work with. Maybe we can win their hearts back eventually, and maybe they do have some good things to add to the conversation, which they do and did. And at the very least, they are still buying the product. Look at Mando Season 1. Boom, the healing had begun. If you are a proper good leader, you learn how to embrace and communicate, not dictate and silence and demand your actors and directors unfollow and shame more than half of your fan base and the people who have stuck with the franchise for decades. Side note, don't say the Force is female and then allow only men to express their political views online. In fact, just drop the ridiculous phrase completely. And like I said, I'm not going to read the whole thing. I want you to go back and read it for yourself. If you're on Twitter/X, definitely check Gina Carano out. She's always sharing these really encouraging messages. I highly recommend her profile. So back to what I was saying, that's exactly right. Kathleen Kennedy had a chance with The Last Jedi when, because The Force Awakens, people kind of responded to it tepidly. But then it was The Last Jedi that really propelled Star Wars into forgetfulness. Solo lost money. I know the geeks and gamers loves to shout that out, and it's true. Solo lost money. And then with The Rise of Skywalker, we got this really tepid ending that no one cared about. Basically, all of our favorite characters were maligned. Harrison Ford's Han Solo became a loser dad who abandoned his family. Mark Hamill's Luke Skywalker became, a guy who was going to murder his own nephew. In an act of instinct, I lit my lightsaber and just gave up on life. Absolutely pathetic. But then we have to have the amazing Wonder Ray, who's just great at everything, and it's a self-insert character for Kathleen Kennedy. And we see that on and on with the Lucasfilms properties. No matter what it is, whether it be Indiana Jones or Willow or Star Wars, they have to drop it that way. And apparently, according to Midnight's Edge, they said that they heard some rumors from their sources that say Kathleen Kennedy is not happy with how South Park portrayed her. Right now, she knows her time is kind of running out, so she's trying to preserve her legacy as the person who saved Star Wars when it didn't need saving. Yes, I know the prequel haters exist. Prequel haters, you're the reason we got Disney Star Wars, so you can, get all the way off for all I care. But anyway, Kathleen Kennedy is concerned with preserving her legacy, and now she's concerned that the last thing that people will remember her for is that South Park episode. And quite frankly, that's how I'm going to remember her, not just for how she damaged Star Wars, but how she damaged a franchise that I really enjoyed, that I celebrated. These are our modern myths. And, America doesn't have we have the Old West, right? We have some of our Revolutionary War tales. Like, George Washington didn't really cut down a cherry tree. That's kind of a fiction that we created that became an American legend. But we don't have, like, a King Arthur. We don't have a Robin Hood. We don't have an Ivanhoe or even a Sherlock Holmes, because early American writers, that for some reason they were still stuck in Europe, and they were still writing about European figures instead of trying to develop a lore for America. And that's changed over time, but really where America wins is our modern myths. And so I hope that these corporate overlords will learn that they need to, if they can't put up, then they need to shut up, and they need to let other people come in. Zorro, for instance, he's an American legend, a Mexican aristocrat who fights for the poor people in California. But this one organization is trying to hold all the rights. Same with Conan the Barbarian, that lapsed in the public domain a long time ago. It's time for these modern myths maybe to be let go, or at least be put in the hands of people who actually care about them. And Kathleen Kennedy, South Park got you. I don't know if Star Wars under her reign will be remembered as anything but a joke. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you'll give it a thumbs up, that you'll leave me a comment, tell me what you think, that you'll share it out with your friends, and of course, consider subscribing to StudioJake. I cover all kinds of nerd and pop culture topics, including film, television, anime, comic books, and so much more. I hope that you'll also head over to my main website, StudioJakeMedia.com, where I have even more news, views, and commentary. Also, if you'd like to support the channel, head over to my locals page. That's studiojakemedia.locals.com. It's the best way to support me. I'm trying to build a little community there. I have exclusive reviews and articles, so definitely head over there and check it out. And I'll see you next time right here on Studio Jake.